Have you ever felt like you do not fit in with the people around you? Do you sometimes look at others and wonder why you are so different? Today we will explore a classic story about exactly that feeling. Welcome to Fairy Tales English Journey, where we learn English through beautiful and timeless magical stories. The story of the ugly duckling is famous all over the world. It teaches us about patience and finding our true place in life. As you listen to this tale, you will improve your English vocabulary. You will also learn an important lesson about self-worth and belonging. Let us begin our wonderful journey together. Once upon a time, in a bright green country farm, it was the beautiful season of summer. The golden sun warmed the tall green grass near a quiet river. Hidden among the tall green plants, a mother duck sat on her nest. She was waiting patiently for her little eggs to finally crack open. She had been sitting there for a very long time. She was feeling quite tired and lonely. Most of the other ducks were swimming in the cool river instead of visiting her. But she knew she had to keep her eggs warm. Finally, she heard a soft tapping sound coming from beneath her feathers. One by one, the small eggs began to crack. Tiny yellow heads poked out of the broken shells. The little ducklings looked around at the big, wide world with wide eyes. The mother duck smiled and quacked with joy. She was so proud of her beautiful, fluffy yellow babies who chirped so very happily. But there was one egg left in the nest. It was much larger than the others and had a strange gray color. An old duck swam by and told the mother to leave it. She said it was probably a turkey egg. But the mother duck decided to sit on it for another day. The next morning, the big gray egg finally began to crack. Out tumbled a very strange-looking bird. He was large and clumsy with dark gray feathers. He did not look like his small, fluffy yellow brothers and sisters at all. The mother duck looked at him and felt very surprised and quite confused. The next day, the mother duck took her family to the water. She jumped in and called for her babies to follow. One by one, the little yellow ducklings jumped into the cold water. They swam perfectly. Even the large gray bird jumped in and swam very well. The mother duck felt very relieved. She led her new family into the busy farmyard to introduce them to the other animals. She told her babies to stay close and bow their heads to the older ducks. The little yellow ducklings behaved perfectly and everyone thought they were adorable. But then the other animals saw the big gray duckling. The other ducks began to quack loudly and point at him. They said he was too big and very strange looking. One angry duck even bit him on the neck. The mother duck tried to protect him, but the other animals were very mean. They laughed at him and chased him around the yard. Day after day, things got worse for the poor strange bird. His own brothers and sisters did not want to play with him. They told him he was ugly and wished the cat would catch him. Even the chickens pecked at him and the girl who fed the birds kicked him away with her foot. The poor duckling felt so sad and completely alone. He believed he was the ugliest creature in the whole world. He could not understand why nobody liked him. One night when everyone was asleep, he decided to run away. He squeezed under the farm fence and ran as fast as his clumsy legs could go. He ran until he reached a large swamp where wild ducks lived. He hid in the tall grass, feeling very tired and very hungry. In the morning, the wild ducks saw him. They told him he was very ugly, but said he could stay if he did not marry into their wild duck family. The duckling stayed in the swamp for 2 whole days. He was lonely, but he felt safe away from the cruel farm animals. Suddenly, he heard loud noises echoing across the swamp. Hunters had arrived with their dogs. The poor duckling hid his head under his wing and stayed completely still in the water. A large, scary dog with sharp teeth splashed through the water right next to him. The dog sniffed the duckling but then ran away to find the wild ducks. The duckling breathed a sigh of relief. He thought to himself that he was so ugly that even the hungry dog did not want to bite him. He waited until the swamp was completely quiet before he moved. Then he ran away from the swamp as fast as he could. The wind began to blow fiercely and dark clouds filled the sky. A terrible storm started to rain down on him. He struggled to walk through the heavy rain and strong wind. Towards evening, he found a small old cottage. The door was slightly open, so he slipped inside to escape the cold rain. Inside the warm cottage lived an old woman with her cat and her hen. The cat was very good at catching mice. The hen was very good at laying fresh, round white eggs. In the morning, the old woman saw the duckling. She had poor eyesight and thought he was a fat duck who could lay eggs. She decided to keep him. But the cat and the hen were very bossy. They asked the duckling if he could lay eggs or purr. The duckling sadly said no. Because he could not lay eggs or catch mice, the cat and the hen treated him poorly. They told him he was useless and should sit quietly in the corner. The duckling sat alone and thought about the beautiful outdoors. He felt a strong desire to float on the water and feel the warm sun. He told the hen about his dream of swimming and diving in the deep water. The hen thought he was crazy. She said swimming was a silly idea and told him to learn how to lay eggs instead. The duckling realized that nobody in the cottage would ever understand his feelings or his true nature. So the brave little duckling left the warm cottage. He found a nice pond where he could swim and dive all day. But as the days passed, the weather turned very cold. The green leaves turned yellow and brown and fell from the trees. The sky grew dark and the wind became very sharp and freezing. One evening, just as the sun was setting, he saw a flock of beautiful birds flying in the sky. They were swans with long, elegant necks and pure white feathers. The duckling had never seen anything so beautiful in his entire life. They gave a strange, joyful cry and flew away to warmer southern lands. The duckling felt a strange, pulling feeling in his heart. He spun around in the water and stretched his neck toward the sky. He let out a loud and strange cry that scared even himself. He could not forget those beautiful, happy birds. He did not know their name, but he loved them very much. The winter grew colder and colder. The pond began to freeze into solid ice. The duckling had to swim in circles all night just to keep the water from freezing completely around him. But eventually he became too tired to move. He froze fast in the thick winter ice and lay there completely helpless. Early the next morning, a kind farmer walked by the pond. He saw the poor frozen bird trapped in the cold ice. The farmer broke the ice with his heavy wooden shoe and carried the duckling home to his warm house. The warm fire and gentle care slowly brought the little bird back to life. The farmer had children who wanted to play with the strange bird, but the duckling was terrified. He thought they wanted to hurt him like the animals at the farm did. In his panic, he flew up and knocked over a pitcher of milk. The milk spilled all over the clean wooden kitchen floor. The wife of the farmer yelled and chased him with a broom. The duckling was so scared he flew into the butter tub and then into the flour barrel. He was covered in white flour and looked like a terrible mess. The children laughed and tried to catch him while the wife continued to swing her broom. The frightened bird managed to escape through the open door. He ran back out into the freezing winter snow. He found a hiding place under some dry bushes in the cold swamp. The rest of the winter was very hard and very sad. He was cold-hungry and completely alone in the freezing, snowy world. But winter does not last forever. One morning, the warm sun began to shine brightly again. The snow melted and the green plants began to grow. The little birds sang sweet songs in the blooming trees. Spring had finally arrived, bringing beautiful warm weather and fresh green life to the whole wide, wonderful world. The duckling stretched his wings. He noticed they felt much stronger and larger than before. Without even thinking about it, he flapped his strong wings and flew high into the air. He flew over the green meadows and the sparkling rivers. He felt free and powerful as he soared through the bright blue spring sky. Soon he landed in a beautiful garden. Apple trees were covered in sweet pink blossoms. Long green branches hung down over a clear blue stream. The garden was peaceful and perfect. Then from behind the thick green bushes, 3 beautiful white swans swam into the clear water. They moved so lightly and so very gracefully. The duckling remembered these magnificent birds. A feeling of deep sadness washed over him. He thought they would surely attack him because he was so ugly. But he decided he would rather be attacked by these beautiful, noble birds than be chased by ducks or beaten by farm girls. He swam out to meet them. He bowed his head low to the water, waiting for them to strike him. But as he looked down at the clear water, he saw a reflection. He did not see a clumsy dark gray bird anymore. He saw a graceful, beautiful swan with pure white feathers and a long, elegant neck. He was amazed. He was no longer an ugly duckling. He had grown into a beautiful swan. The 3 other swans swam around him, gently stroking his feathers with their beaks to welcome him. They accepted him as one of their own. For the first time in his entire life, he felt like he truly belonged somewhere special. Some children ran into the garden to throw bread into the water. The youngest child pointed and shouted that there was a new swan. The other children clapped their hands and agreed. They said the new swan was the most beautiful and the most graceful of them all. The older swans bowed to him respectfully. The new swan felt very shy and hid his head under his wing. He was so incredibly happy, but he was not proud or rude. He remembered how it felt to be hated and chased. Now everyone said he was the most beautiful bird in the world. His heart was completely full of pure joy. He rustled his glorious white feathers and raised his elegant neck toward the bright sun. He thought about all the sadness and trouble he had experienced. Now he appreciated his happiness and the beautiful world even more. He knew he had finally found his true home and his true family. The story ends happily. Now let us think about the important lessons we can learn from this beautiful fairy tale. The story of the ugly duckling is not just about a bird. It is a story about human feelings and human struggles. We all experience times when we feel different or misunderstood by the people who are around us. The duckling was born in the wrong place. The ducks and chickens judged him because he looked different from them. They did not understand that he was a completely different kind of bird. In our lives, people might judge us because we do not fit their expectations. This can make us feel very sad indeed. But the story teaches us that being different is not a bad thing. The duckling thought he was ugly because he was comparing himself to ducks. When we compare ourselves to others, we often feel bad about ourselves. We must remember that everyone has their own unique beauty and their own special path in life. The duckling also faced many difficult challenges. He was chased by animals, rejected by the old woman, and frozen in the winter ice. These hard times represent the struggles we all face in life. But the duckling never gave up. He kept moving forward even when he was cold, lonely, and completely terrified of everything. His journey shows us the importance of patience and endurance. Sometimes we are in environments that do not support us. Like the duckling in the cottage of the old woman, we might be told that our dreams are silly. But we must stay true to our own hearts and keep searching for the place where we belong. The moment the duckling sees his reflection is the most powerful part of the tale. It represents self-discovery and self-acceptance. He finally sees his true self and realizes his own worth. We too must look inside ourselves to find our true value instead of listening to the negative words of cruel or ignorant people. Notice how the swan behaves when the children praise him. He does not become arrogant or mean. He remains humble and kind because he remembers his past struggles. Going through hard times can make us more compassionate toward others. We learn to treat people with kindness because we know how much cruelty can truly hurt. This story is also a wonderful tool for learning English. We learned many descriptive words today. Words like clumsy, graceful, freezing, and magnificent help us paint pictures with our language. By listening to stories, you naturally learn how these words are used in real sentences. This is the best way to improve your English skills. You also heard many examples of the past tense. Because fairy tales describe events that already happened, they are perfect for practicing grammar. When you hear phrases like, "he ran away" or "she smiled," you are training your brain to understand English naturally. Keep practicing and your language skills will grow strong and very beautiful. I encourage you to watch this video again. Listen carefully to the pronunciation of each word. Try to repeat the sentences out loud to practice your speaking skills. Do not worry if you make mistakes at first. Just like the little duckling, you need time and patience to grow and reach your full, wonderful potential. Finding your true place in life takes time. You might have to go through many different experiences before you find the people who truly understand you, but never lose hope. Keep being kind to yourself and keep searching for your own beautiful garden. Your true family and friends are out there waiting for you. Thank you so much for joining me today on Fairy Tales English Journey. I hope you enjoyed this timeless story of the beautiful swan. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe to our channel. We have many more wonderful stories to share with you. Learning English together is a truly magical and fun adventure. Remember that you are unique and special just the way you are. Never let anyone make you feel like you do not belong. Keep practicing your English, keep believing in yourself, and keep shining your bright light in the world. Until next time, stay happy, stay curious, and have a wonderful day, my dear friends.
Top 10 Best Sentences to Learn English. Number 1. Have you ever felt like you do not fit in with the people around you? Explanation. This sentence is a great example of the present perfect tense used to ask about life experiences. It also introduces the useful phrasal verb fit in, which means to feel like you belong to a group or environment. Number 2. The little ducklings looked around at the big wide world with wide eyes. Explanation. This sentence uses descriptive imagery. The phrase with wide eyes is an idiomatic way to describe a state of surprise, wonder, or innocence. Number 3. He squeezed under the farm fence and ran as fast as his clumsy legs could go. Explanation. This sentence demonstrates the as plus adjective plus as structure for comparisons. It also uses the descriptive adjective clumsy to provide detail about the character's movement. Number 4. The duckling breathed a sigh of relief. Explanation. This is a very common English idiom. To breathe a sigh of relief means to feel suddenly happy or relaxed because something unpleasant has stopped or has not happened. Number 5. A feeling of deep sadness washed over him. Explanation. The phrasal verb wash over is a figurative way to describe a feeling or emotion that suddenly and completely affects someone, much like a wave of water. Number 6. He was no longer an ugly duckling. Explanation. The phrase no longer is a formal and effective way to say that a situation that existed in the past has changed and is not true anymore. Number 7. For the first time in his entire life, he felt like he truly belonged somewhere special. Explanation. This sentence uses for the first time to emphasize a significant milestone, and the verb belong to express the emotional state of being in the right place. Number 8. We must remember that everyone has their own unique beauty and their own special path in life. Explanation. This is an inspirational sentence that uses must for strong recommendation and the adjective unique to describe something that is the only one of its kind. Number 9. His journey shows us the importance of patience and endurance. Explanation. This sentence is excellent for academic or reflective contexts, as it uses abstract nouns like importance, patience, and endurance to summarize a moral lesson. Number 10. Just like the little duckling, you need time and patience to grow and reach your full, wonderful potential. Explanation. This sentence uses a simile, just like, to draw a comparison. The phrase, reach your potential, is a common collocation used to talk about achieving what one is capable of doing.